Good evening. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous coming to you for a time in your life space just to talk to you about a webinar that's coming up. Not a webinar. This is a webinar. We're going to talk about a program that's coming up called Life Coaching After Divorce. And this program is for those of you who have gone through a divorce. Your divorce is finished. And now you're asking the question, what now? Where do I go from here? And that is specifically what this program is designed for, is to give you an opportunity to truly look at your life, to understand your life, and to ask some questions of what it is that you want for your future. Many of us are very reflexive to our life, so we're just responding to the stimulus that comes at us. And after divorce, we're pretty devastated as to what we want in our future. And so we can flounder for more years if we're not careful. We have wasted way too many years and too much time going through this process of divorce, this pain and this chaos. And now it's time for you to focus, to decide what it is that you want with the rest of your life. And that is what I do, is I help work with you. I facilitate the group. I've been doing it for many, many years. I created this program in a different form, was a weekend event. And I've been doing it since, oh goodness, probably 15 years, something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time. I used to do retreats where I'd bring women to a specific space and we would go through this process. Now, this program is not just for women. In fact, through the evolution of this program, I have held this program with many people who are not going through divorce. It was called Redesigning Your Life, those who wanted life change. So I've taken all of this experience of working with a variety of different people, and I've created this program. Now, when the books were published, Suddenly Single through David C. Cook, the publisher requested that it would be exclusive to those going through divorce. However, you all are welcome to join me. And I wanted really just for you to get to know me a little bit tonight and to understand what this program is how it's going to help you. Great. I just got the okay that you can hear me. So this is good. And I'm grateful for you to come. I will try to be very precise and give you the information that you need. And also, you'll see my phone number down at the bottom there. You are welcome to text me a question if you have, or you can make comments as well. You're more than welcome to make comments. But if you prefer, and it's going to look something like this, it's going to have your profile and it will have your question there. I welcome questions. But if you prefer to have it more anonymous, you certainly can text me and I will check my phone periodically and make sure that I respond to your questions. So get your questions ready, and I look forward to speaking with you. So we are going to begin January 11th. This is only an online program. So I'm going to have people from across the country. I've had international folks before, and I certainly welcome you if you're listening to this from another country. And wouldn't you know, my voice started to go just before I got on here. So forgive me if I take a few drinks periodically. So this is going to begin January 11th. Excuse me. It is online only. I do some hybrid groups. I do some in-person groups, but this one is going to be online only. And that gives you an opportunity to stay within the comfort of your home and really be as anonymous as you'd like. You can rename yourself. I want you to feel safe. Whatever it takes for you to feel safe is really what I want for you. Now, you may ask the question, I'm just going through divorce, or I'm just in the middle of the process. Would this be a group for me? I would suggest, first of all, that you would go to my Divorce Support Anonymous group, which is going to start on the 10th of January. So that is a group specifically for those who are going through the divorce. So we deal with 4 different stages. We talk about all the emotions, we talk about all the decisions, and we talk about all of the acceptance. How do we accept where we've landed after this divorce, through this divorce? And then we start talking about moving forward. That is a 10-week program as well that is specific for those who just found out they're going through divorce, in the middle of the process, or immediately after divorce. Because there's a lot to deal with, as you and I both know, going through divorce. So you need time, first of all, to process that. And then once you have gone through that, and you get through the divorce, and you've worked on your healing, and you've done your work, and all of a sudden you're saying, what now? Where do I go from here? That is where this program is really going to be of help to you. And I'm going to run through the outline of the different weeks of the 10 weeks that we're going to emphasize. And I'm going to give you the information, hopefully, that you need to make this decision. So you may ask the question, well, I will ask the question, why would you join? I would ask you, why not? It is incredibly expensive. It is an incredibly safe space for you to process through. The real help in going through this is hearing other people articulate your dreams and thoughts, your fears, and your pain. Because when you hear other people put into words what you can't, it is incredibly valuable. So that's one of the reasons that I really, really love group. So let me just get started with a little introductory. Who am I as your group leader? Well, I have been in the divorce world, working in the divorce world for the past 17 years. In fact, I went through my own divorce 23 years ago. So I have the personal experience, the personal pain. I had teenagers as I was going through my divorce, became the single mom, went through it all, right? The loneliness, the confusion, the betrayal, all of that. So I understand it from a personal level. I've also worked 17 years being a group leader. I am an individual divorce coach. So I have even went to mediation with people if needed, or I can go to the court with you if needed, if you're local, of course. But I guide people through this process. So instead of going to your attorney all of the time and paying them $350 an hour for every text and every email that you contact them with, you have this coach who's going to give you the answers. I don't give legal advice. I understand my limitations where I'm legally and ethically bound, but I'm going to give you the questions to ask your attorney, or I'm going to explain the process to you to help you understand what in the world is going on. Because as you go through this process, you just don't know. So I'm also a domestic mediator. So that means I can be your neutral party where both of you meet with me, with or without attorneys, and we work through all of the issues of the divorce, the division of assets, the division of debts, parenting time, spousal support, all of those issues that involve a divorce. Now, there are many ways in which you can shortcut this, so it is not so incredibly expensive. So I would encourage you to contact me if you're needing more information on that. I do have to be the neutral party. If I'm your coach, I can't be your mediator. So that's important to know. Make sure I check my my questions here or comments. So I've been doing this for a very long time. I have materials, a lot of materials, and I'll introduce you to just a couple of them. These are the books that we will be using as for the 10 weeks. These are books that is part of a 3-book set. The other book is one that I use in the Divorce Support Anonymous group. These are the ones that are looking forward. I'm also the author of this book, Seeing Your Attorney for the First Time. This is a book that actually it's a free download upon request that you can receive. And that allows you to get started on your divorce process. It tells you what you need to know, what to expect, the documents you need to have, that you need to gather, gives you terms and all kinds of information. So if you are in this process and you need this, please contact me. It's a free download. It's just something that I want to do to help folks. And I also have another book. This is my most recent 30 Days of Healing After Divorce, 10 Minutes of Honesty at a Time. It's a very simple 30-day book to work through all the different issues of life after divorce. And that's an individual. You could do it as a group as well, but this is more of an individual. Very easy, very simple. One subject a day, 10 minutes. If you focus on it for 10 minutes, is going to help you process through this divorce. So that's there for you as well. I also want to share with you. This is really my work motto. My work is to guide people through the trauma of divorce with the least amount of damage, emotionally, financially, physically, and spiritually. There is so much damage in divorce, and my role is to minimize that. It's to minimize the financial loss that you're going to go through. It's to minimize the emotional confusion that you are going through. It's to minimize and to address the spiritual issues that you may be struggling with as you go through this. So that is my role, and it has been one that I have held for quite some time. And I am privileged to have walked alongside of hundreds of individuals going through divorce. And I know your story. If I've not heard your story, I've heard one very similar, having worked with, again, hundreds and hundreds of people going through divorce. As you can imagine, holding 3 and 4 groups a year for the past 17 years, that amounts to a lot of people. So that I've had the privilege of going to meet. So that's a little bit about me. I love group. I also have a degree in counseling. I am a certified mental health coach. I have studied the trauma-informed care, so I continue to learn. I'm a member of the American Association of Christian Counselors as a coach. I'm not a counselor, I'm a coach, which really gives me more freedom, quite frankly. I love my counselors, and they are necessary, but I prefer to be a coach. So, what is this all about? These 10 weeks are really about you intentionally looking and reviewing your life and all of the issues that are in your life. And you'll see that as we go through the 10 weeks here of what the different topics are. So, for us to think that after divorce, life is just going to go on and it's going to be the same minus one person is really not the case, because life drastically changes. And so, for us to be proactive and intentional in creating a life, we need to involve ourselves, get the therapy that we need, perhaps join the group where you're going to be amongst friends who are going to share their dreams, their goals, their fears, their pain, and finding ways to address those. And you know what's really fun? My favorite part, and I don't have it on here, is we're not looking back anymore. We are looking forward. We've resolved the issues of the past. We've worked on our healing. Now we are looking forward. What is it that we want? Because we have spent so much time and energy on this bad relationship and the divorce that we have forgotten who we are. And sometimes, quite frankly, we have to go back to high school days or college days to remember what our dreams were, what our goals were, what we wanted out of life. So that is one of the things, the reason for this. We are going to work on a new life declaration. And you'll see a little bit more about that coming up. The whole goal through the 10 weeks is working on that authentic self. And through each week, we're going to ask ourselves, what are the decisions I need to make? What are the actions I need to take? Things I can no longer tolerate, areas I need to keep and strengthen. And then ideas to develop. I'll explain more shortly. But after every week, we're going to answer these questions and respond to these questions. Then by the end of the 10 weeks, we are going to have a new life declaration. And the most incredible time of these 10 weeks is when individuals share their new life declaration. It is amazing, and I totally love it. And we as a group are going to lovingly support them, but we're also going to question, and we're going to ask for clarity. What do you mean when you say, I'm going to live a healthy life? Exactly what does that mean? So we're not going to be vague. We're not going to allow ourselves to be vague. We're going to get specific. to what it is that we want. So that's what this is all about. Why would I join? Why would you not join? Why would you not want an opportunity to be guided through asking the important questions of life? What is it that I want? What no longer fits in my life? How do I get rid of this shame that has carried me through this divorce? Why would you not join when you are in a safe environment with 10 to 15 people? I will cap it off at 15 people. So there is limited space in this group. Why would you not join when it is going to take an hour of your time, maybe an hour and a half when you do the extra work, an hour and a half a week? And you are going to truly, honestly ask yourself the most important questions of your life. Why in the world would you not join? Now, you're wondering what the cost is, and I'll share that shortly. But it is, I know if you're listening, you'll think, well, if it's only that cheap, then I don't know if it would be any good. Well, I have lots of testimonies that I could share from people who it was a life changer for, a real game changer. The reason it's so inexpensive is because the divorce process is so inexpensive. I don't want for you to have one more thing or one more person putting their hand out asking for your money. The attorneys have gotten too much of it. The court system has gotten too much of it. I want you to thrive in your next life, to stop wasting any more time, and really to be intentional and focused on what it is you want. When we are intentional and focused, life happens. When we are a reflex that simply responds, life doesn't happen. Everyone else's life might happen, but yours does not. So how would I benefit? Well, you are going to have a life declaration, a new life declaration that is going to be your motto, your mantra for your future. It is going to give you the direction that you need. You're going to refer to it. We're going to have accountability for it. We are going to put this into action. This is not just a bunch of theories, pie in the sky ideas. These are real, they are practical. And we as a group, as we form this beautiful group, we're going to hold each other accountable. We will have check-ins periodically. We'll do our own Facebook page where we can correspond with each other. And we can hold each other accountable for that new life declaration and all of those things that we have worked through so that we can leave them behind and we can move forward with our life. Let me just say there's something about change, and that's what we're talking about, right? Is making changes that we want this time. There's something about change that if we don't have a sense of urgency, it's not going to happen. If I don't enroll in a group that's going to hold me accountable, that's going to listen as I share my thoughts and dreams, it's going to take 5 times as long. And you might flounder out there on your own. So real change has to have urgency. And I learned that from Sam Horn, who is an amazing writer and speaker. Urgency. We have to put urgency on it. We have to put a timeline on it. And that's exactly what you'll do with these 10 weeks that we are together. So the truth is, it is time. This is the time to examine your life before you fall into other ruts. You see, there's so much up in the air and so much confusion that this is the time to really make the changes that you want to make. This is a time to examine your life. This is a time to ask the questions. Why do I do what I do? When I'm not, it's not helping me live the life that I want to live. This is the time to examine your life because everything else is an upheaval. So why not organize it the way you want it to be? And I hope, quite honestly, this is a faith-based program. I hope that you would allow God to direct you in those changes because I can speak from personal testimony. The great things that God has in mind for you are beyond your comprehension and your understanding. So why would you not want the best and the greatest life? This is the time for you to examine it, to ask the question. Quick quote in here. I found interesting. Of course, Socrates said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." And this is kind of a takeoff from that. The unexamined life is not worth living, but the unlived life is not worth examining. I want you to have a life that's worth examining. I don't want you to be a reflex anymore. I don't want you to respond to everyone else's needs or expectations or plans that they have for your life. And at the end, you say, "What happened? Isn't what I wanted at all. This wasn't even my life. It's what everyone else expected my life to be." I need to remember my dreams and my goals. And to do that, you have to examine your life. And these 10 weeks are giving you that opportunity to do it. One of the greatest parts, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes, is what stays and what goes. We have to decide what no longer fits in our life. And this is really one of my favorite parts. It's called the garage sale of the home and heart. What stays and what goes? You have in front of you an incredible amount of potential. So, what is it you're going to bring with you from the old life into your current life? There may be things, and we're going to talk about clutter. There may be things, personal space, we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about what's up here. What's up here that doesn't fit anymore? What's up here that really needs to go, to be gotten rid of, so I can really focus on the life that I want? What stays, what goes? It is so cool to do this. In fact, I did it once with a group. We had about 30 in the group. It was an in-person group. And several people came back. And one in particular said, "I took 5 bags to Goodwill." She was so proud of herself. She knew she needed to do that. But there's something about the dynamics of group and community that really put us into action. So we're going to ask the question about the network, the people we hang out with. Who are your influencers? Who are those voices that you are listening to in your head that aren't giving you and allowing you to walk the life and show up in life the way you want to? It's really important that we ask that question. Who are your influencers? So let me see if I have any comments here. I don't think I do. So we'll keep going. Who are your influencers? We look at the network of our life. Who are those people we need to love from a distance? Is my statement that I say. We have to love people. God commanded us to do that. That doesn't mean we give them access to our mind and heart. So, and then the question, what do you want? What do you want? Jesus asked that question of the blind man. What do you want? Do you want me to heal you? And he knew what he needed. But he asked us the question, what do you want? And so during these 10 weeks, we are going to uncover, rediscover, or create those things that we want. We're going to review our commitments. What are all those things that we are involved in? And do they really step or speak into and add to your life, to your focus, to your life intention? We're going to look at those as well. Again, what goes, what stays. Ready. We're going to talk about the acronym READY, which is when you're ready to make change, you're ready to move forward, you have to have risk. You have to know that you're enough. You have to put things into action, items into action. You have to be determined, and you have to listen to the yearning of your heart. So we'll talk about that in depth. Then we have to give ourselves permission to move forward and not to be stuck. Sadly, I've worked with a few people who have remained stuck. They haven't come through my group, but they were in my divorce support groups, and still see them on different social media, and still see their heart and their attitude. It shines through with every post that they put up. They never gave themselves permission to move forward. They thought, well, if I stay angry and bitter, then I'm controlling the situation. I don't know where that lie comes from, but it's not true. You have to be willing to give yourself permission to move forward. Will you do that? Will you do that now? Or will you stubbornly hold on to that bitterness and anger, thinking that you have control because you're holding on to it? You don't. You don't. Use this pain for change. Many of you are in deep pain, and I get that. So what do you do with that pain? Do you stay stuck? Do you wallow in that pain? Do you ruminate in that pain? Or do you say, you know what? Can't stay like this. Something has to change. I'm going to use this pain as a motivation and leverage to begin creating a life. I'm not saying that everyone in this group is going to be free of pain from the effects of divorce. They won't be. But they are going to be determined as we work through this to use this pain as leverage to move forward and create a new life. Don't waste the pain. Don't waste what has happened to you. Another quick quote I find helpful. Oh, I have a comment. Oh, yay. I have a comment. Hi, Cynthia. I appreciate you, Cynthia. Cynthia's been joins me on some of the Friday Night Lives. So good to see you. Hope you'll be joining us, Cynthia. So I want to just put up this quote that I found interesting. Change and loss are deeply connected. There cannot be change without loss. Well, you've had enough loss, that's for sure. So how about losing some of that pain and chaos and bewilderment from this divorce and exchanging it for focus, intention, finding your place of service, finding your life purpose, and getting your new life declaration. One more quote. I love good quotes, and I love this one too. It takes more courage to examine the dark corners of your own soul than it does for a soldier to fight on the battlefield. It's hard work. It's hard work being honest with ourselves because we've rationalized so much being in this negative relationship because we thought truth was too painful. Well, truth is always our friend, but we have to have the courage to face it. It takes more courage to examine the dark corner of your own soul than it does for a soldier to fight on the battlefield. I hope that you will take the courage to join this group. The value of group I've explained a little bit, and that is, again, to hear other people so you know that you're not alone in your pain, in your confusion. There's something amazing about group. I do one-on-ones and I enjoy them a lot. But when I'm in group, I just see people start to support each other. And I see them speak into each other's lives. That is truly amazing to watch. And there are more than one teacher or leader in this group. We all work together to support each other, to care about each other, to ask questions of each other. It's a lot of value in group that you will not get. You go to a therapist, it's just your voice and the therapist's voice who's really asking you a lot of questions, important questions. But the value of group is you are hearing input from those around you who are in a similar experience. And again, when you hear them articulate your pain, there's something amazing about that. That you say, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one dealing with this. I'm normal. I'm not crazy because I have these thoughts and feelings. It's so, so valuable. So, quick run through that we'll do here of the 10 weeks, and please feel free ask a question, a comment. If you are someone by chance who's been through my group, whether it was called Redesigning Your Life or Building Your Life After Divorce, please let me know. I'd love to hear a comment. Week 1, we're going to take an assessment. We need to know where we are. And this assessment is going to reveal different things to us. It's a short assessment. It'll take probably a half an hour to do. 20 minutes, half hour, depends on how long you need to think about it. And from there, we're going to review our responses and we're going to come up with a plan. Week 2, we're going to talk about matters of the heart, fear, which is for a lot of us, a fear of the unknown. We're going to talk about the clutter, again, a clutter in our space, clutter in our mind. What's our mindset? How do we get rid of those things once and for all? The blame, the shame, the fear, the anger, all those things that are going to hold us back and keep us stuck in the past. So that's week 2, matters of the heart, one of my favorite weeks. They're all my favorite weeks. Managing your finances. You cannot, until you control your finances, you cannot control your life. It's so critical. So we're going to talk about different aspects of finances, what budgets we use, budget systems we use. We're going to look at other budget systems. We're going to give you the tools that you need to be in control. And that's what's important. It can be as simple as a spreadsheet that you write out, or an electronic one, or there's different opportunities and to manage. And then we're going to look at some realistic questions about our finances. And many of us have had to simplify our life after divorce because the finances were not there. So we've had to make some changes. We're going to talk about how we make those changes, how we focus on what's important, and how we make sure that we're not spending $27.40 a day. Is it a day or a week? A day, I think, to become $10,000 in debt in a year's time, which is a sobering fact on how easy we can get ourselves into debt. So that's week 3, and I'm just really giving you the overview, quick note. We're going to go much more in depth, and we're going to spend an hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours, depending on the topic, depending on the group and how the group feels. So we're going to talk about developing your new self. What is that I want? What would be my dream of a perfect life, a good life, a life that has purpose, a life that when I get to the end and I look back, I say, wow, I did what I needed to do to make a valuable life, a life that contributes not just to me, but to others. So we're going to talk about what it is we want and many different aspects of that. Week 5, we're going to talk about creating boundaries and taking risk, because life does not change without taking risk, and life cannot be controlled unless you have boundaries. So very important topics. Week 6, avoid self-sabotage and affirming your self-worth. All of us in one way or another, I shouldn't say all, many of us, most of us, find ways to sabotage ourselves. We're going to take an honest look at that and how that affects not only the area that we think it does. For example, overeating. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Overeating, and how that affects us not only physically, but it affects us in our dreams and goals. And so we'll take whatever that is, and then we'll branch it out and see how it affects all of our life. It's really cool to watch and to see. It's like, didn't realize how our self-sabotage really does affect every aspect of our life. It affects our finances. For those who do retail therapy and think that obtaining material goods are a way to self-soothe. Yeah, okay. I'm wondering. There's just so much there I'm trying to express. Week 7. Wow, is this important? Building new heritage habits. So many of us have come from broken homes, and we have carried into our marriage and into our life some of the bad habits of our families. For example, anger, how we express anger. I can give you the example of my father expressed anger very vocally. My mother did not know how to express anger. Both are problematic. So we are going to take an honest look at where we've come from. And we're going to talk about how do we stop the bad heritage habits that we have carried into our life and replace them with new habits so that our children have a better heritage, perhaps, than we did. It's all doable. I don't care if you're a single parent, it's all doable. Week 8, we're going to talk about composing your new life declaration. So, for all of the weeks up to this point, we have been at the end of every week, we ask the questions. It's called the authenticity page at the end of each week. What are the decisions I need to make? What are the actions I need to take? What are the things I can no longer tolerate? What are the areas to keep and strengthen? The ideas to develop? What I want my legacy to be? Changes I will make to ensure my legacy is one that lasts and blesses those I leave behind. A prayer strategy. We're going to do that every week, and then we're going to compose a new life declaration. Week 9, we're going to share those new life declarations. And this is, again, I mentioned it early, just an incredible opportunity for you to take a stand, because you can write it out and scribble it and put up Post-it notes. But there's something about when you stand in front of a group of people who you have bonded with over the prior 8 weeks, and you share your new life declaration. And then we lovingly, as a group, ask you some questions. Like, okay, John, you said that you were going to live a healthier lifestyle. Could you explain to us what exactly does that mean? And they are needing to drill down to explain exactly what they mean. So that cements it more in your mind. And just to observe the groups when they do that is so incredibly cool. Week 10 accountability group. That's we kind of wrap up all that has transpired. We talk about connecting in the future. How are we going to keep each other accountable in a loving, supportive way? And so that's the 10 weeks, and they go by very quickly, and they are incredibly deep in content. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your money. I want you to truly have an opportunity to examine your life and build a new life after divorce. So you can request a registration form from this media that you are listening to this webinar from. Feel free to do that. The cost again is going to be, it's $15 a class, $15 a night. So that's $150 for the program. And I will mail you these books and this book. So you'll get those 3 books mailed to you. And if you have gone through my Divorce Support Anonymous group, then this group is going to be $50 off. So that will be $10 a week, and that is $100 for the group. So, are there any questions? I think you're out there. I see that I have some viewers out there. Would love to hear, just have just a couple of questions if you have any. I think I pretty explained it as thoroughly as I could without spending, the whole 8 weeks with you on here. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Either now, you can text it to me, which there's my phone number. You can text it to me. So if you don't want to be known, or you can do it as a comment, and I'll put up Cynthia, and this is what it looks like. You see Cynthia there, and she's in North Carolina, and so that comment comes up like that. And so you can do either one if you have any questions. And I am not seeing any questions. Of course, you're not limited to asking questions now. You've got my number there. You could shoot me a text or send me an email. Let me get my information here. I'll put this up at the end. I'll put up this this little video that shows all of my contact information, but you can reach out to me through this media platform that you are watching this webinar on, and I'd be more than happy to respond to it. So, with that, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you for being with me this evening, and I look forward to seeing you if you have the need, or please pass on to family or friends who have the need to join either the Divorce Support Anonymous support group, and that's going to begin January 10th, or this group, which is going to be starting January 11th. You find this up here. This group is going to be Life Coaching After Divorce, January 11th. And then, well, you've got that. We don't need that. We need this. January 10th is going to be either in person if you're in the Grand Rapids area or anywhere you want. I've had international folks join us. I've had people across the country join us. So if you have internet service, there's no reason why you cannot work on your healing. So with that, I will call it an evening. Again, thank you for your time, your attention, and you can certainly reach me at this information that I will post along with my phone number there. You shoot me a text. So with that, I wish you all great healing and great purpose in finding the direction in which you were meant to go, that God so longs to take you to. And we need structure. We all need structure. So I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of taste of what we are going to do on January 11th, and I look forward to connecting with you. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, walking with you every step of the way through the trauma of divorce and after divorce. Have a good evening.